This came as Senate Republicans officially released their version of a coronavirus stimulus plan. While it includes a second round of $1,200 payments, it would only extend additional unemployment payments by $200 a week through September. That's compared to the current payment of $600. Starting in October, a worker's lost wages would be covered up to 70%.
Joining us now from Capitol Hill is New York Senator and Democratic Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Senator, good morning. Negotiations with the White House started last night. You and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi were there. Where do we stand right now?
Well, unfortunately, we're pretty far apart right now, although I'm optimistic we could have a good solution at the end. Here's where we are now. We Democrats have put together a package that is bold and strong and deals with the average needs of people. We don't let them get kicked out of their homes because they've lost their job through no fault of their own. We give them a good amount of unemployment insurance so they can pay. We put in money to feed kids. We put in money to open schools safely. People want schools open, but it has to be done safely. And we give money to state and local governments because thousands, hundreds of thousands of firefighters and bus drivers and garbage workers will be laid off. The Republican plan does almost none of these things. It is stingy. It doesn't provide any money, for instance, for more food for people who need to feed their kids. It provides their unemployment insurance. You're telling people who lost their jobs through no fault of their own, they get a 30% pay cut. It does nothing for state and local governments, is woefully inadequate in helping our schools open. Instead, Anthony, amazingly, it has all these corporate benefits. No money for food stamps, but a deduction for a 3-martini lunch for a big businessman. Big cushion for defense contractors. No cushion for people who'd be kicked out of their house. And to boot, they threw in there, President Trump wants the FBI headquarters built near his hotel so no new competing hotel could come in. $2 billion for that. So the bottom line is, and one more point, half the Republicans of the Senate even think that's too generous. So we're pretty far apart, and the negotiations were disappointing.
Yeah. So, Senator, I mean, the supplemental benefit, unemployment benefit, has already run out for a lot of people. It's due to run out for a lot more by the end of the week. So if you're this far apart, what's the real hope here of getting a deal so these people aren't in a panic, as our David Begnaud reported from Florida already today?
Even if you did the Republican plan, most states said unemployment benefits would be cut off anyway because it's a whole new plan and they have to readjust their computers, hire new people. Many states say it would take months before people would get their checks. There's a simple solution. The House has passed, and we Senate Democrats support simply extending the existing $600 a month till January. That could go into effect easy. That can help our economy because it puts money in people's pockets, and then they buy things and go to the stores. That's the only thing that's kept the economy going, and we can get it done.
But Senator,
we urge our Republican colleagues. You know, in the last two bills, the last two COVID bills, they were very stingy. We Democrats said it had to be better, and they came in our direction. I'm hopeful that will happen again.
The Republican argument, Senator, as you know, is that the $600 supplemental is essentially not an incentive for people to go back to work. It's actually keeping them from going back to work. What do you say to that?
That misreads the American people. People want jobs. They want permanent jobs. They don't want to stay on unemployment. And the evidence of how many people doing that is very, very small. What's really happening is that they want to favor the big corporate interests as opposed to the average person who needs this money. And every economist has said the unemployment insurance has done more to prevent the recession from getting greater than now. Why cut it and instead put the money into these corporate things? I don't get it.
The White House says that if you can't reach an agreement, you should pass a narrower bill. Would you support that?
Well, you're going to choose. We should help the unemployed, but not help people be kicked out of their homes, not help feed people, not help schools open. There are so many needs. Remember, this is the greatest economic crisis we've had since the Great Depression. This is the greatest health crisis since the Spanish flu. We need a bold package. We believe that the Republicans will have to move in our direction because the public is completely on our side. So many, even Republican economists are on our side. They're being held back by a group of hard right-wing people in the Senate who don't want to spend any money on anything and say, let the people be damned.
Is eviction protection part of this bill?
No, it's part of our bill, but not part of theirs. People will be kicked out of their houses starting next week. We can't let that happen.
So you're going to have to give up something, Senator. Where do you think you can meet the Republican side?
Well, look, we're happy to sit down and talk and roll up our sleeves and try. We sat down with Mnuchin and with Meadows last night.
Chief of Staff, yeah.
And there has to be some kind there has to be some kind of meeting. But you cannot forego the desperate needs of people because there's a small band of hard-right Republicans saying don't do anything. As I said, the last 3 bills, the Republicans started out very narrow. We Democrats held our ground and said there are a lot of needs, and they moved in our direction. I'm very hopeful that will happen again, and we'll be able to meet these needs. So
both bills prioritize schools, but you're offering significantly more money.
Not only more money, we offer money to deal. Schools have real problems in opening up.
Yes, they do.
You give every kid a mask and every teacher a mask, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. You probably have to have 2 bus routes. If the kids are sitting in a bus right next to each other, you can only have 1 seat, double the bus routes. A lot of schools want to convert their gyms, their cafeterias to classrooms. You need some help with distance learning for people who don't have adequate Wi-Fi. There's a lot to be done, and we provide for it. This is a huge crisis, and if we are too stingy, it's going to get worse. That's what the president's actions has shown thus far. We're trying to overcome it.
The clock is ticking here. Can you reach a deal by the end of the next week?
I hope so, and that's what we're working for. We'll sit down. We're going to sit down again today. We'll sit down 24/7. People's needs are so great that we will do whatever we can to reach a deal, but without foregoing their basic needs.
Senator Schumer, thank you very much for being with us this morning.
Thank you. Good to talk to you, Anthony.